Don't holler all the time. I'm in the meeting. I'm in a meeting. Don't bother me.
6 o'clock. Motion to adopt the agenda is presented. Council Warwick. Delegations.
Need to vote, Mr.
Oh,
Mayor.
sorry, vote all in favor. Carry.
You
Delegation.
watching, Counselor Thurl?
Yeah,
Okay.
he's actually texting me, so,
And waving.
yeah, and leaving. Delegations, we have none. Public presentations. We have a couple. Before we start the public presentations, I want to remind everyone the agenda of a regular council meeting. When public presentation session is adoption after the agenda, the public presentations shall be no longer than 15 minutes in length, allowing for no more than 5 minutes per speaker. The public will be encouraged to register for this session, but will walk-in presentations be allowed? Yes. The allotted time period has not been exhausted by the registered participants. The public presentations will not be allowed to discuss issues that are before subdivision, development appeal board, and assessment review board, or any of these issues currently being dealt with at a statutory public meeting. This is bylaw 10/15/2022. Okay. Public presentation, we have April Reeves.
Just, yeah, make yourself comfortable at the podium there.
Sure, thank you. Thank you, Mayor and councillors. My name is April Reeves. I live just east of Bowden. In 1983, I was a graphic designer in Vancouver. And I had a reputation for doing a lot of highly confidential work. And I was given a contract I should never have taken. It was a 3-year contract, and it was for the United Nations, and it was called their discussion papers. So my job was to take their work and put it into brochures and folders so that it could go back to Europe and be discussed. These discussion papers were the final drafts of what we are going to see coming up in the very, very near future, and how a few things have already started for us. My job was just to design it the way they wanted and to typeset it. But the reality is, as a typesetter, I was known for never having typos or grammar errors. So I got to read every page back to back for 2 years. And I learned all sorts of stuff about what was coming in 2050. This was slated for 2050. In 2040, they would have started the same thing that happened in 2020. They had 3 pandemics that they were going to put through. They were going to put the first one through exactly the same as what we went. There's a whole host of other things that they're going to put through. Smart cities were in there. They did not call them smart cities. They called them something else. They were going to put the smart cities and the 15-minute cities. They are actually, when I drafted them up, those 2 things were a combination. So they were confinement areas with surveillance. So they didn't separate them, but these were papers that were being discussed for finalization from 83, 84, and 85. They would finalize them for 1990, and then in 1992, they would go out. I drafted them up. I was a typesetter. I was a graphic designer. So I'm here to let you guys know that you're a council and a area that's far removed from cities and stuff. So I've been with Edmonton and a few people from Calgary, and believe me, that's a whole different ballgame. That's coming fast, and it's coming furiously, and it is scaring the crap out of a lot of people. And it is very real, and it is very dark, and it is very fast. Okay, you guys probably won't get it if you're not working. You guys aren't working with Green Space Alliance, are you?
No.
Okay, you won't get them in. You won't be subjected to this, but I just have to tell you guys, this is really crucially important. You may still get something. I'm not sure if you would have had it by now, but you might, because you are, like all the small towns, we're still in the discussion. papers for all across Canada. I only did the Canadian discussion papers. I didn't do North American. But all the small towns and stuff, all the rest of them. I know that a lot of you guys and a lot of people here are wanting to know this information because I know that you think I'm crazy. I'm not crazy. I actually have gone through this. And the only reason I'm putting myself out here is because I have the experience of having worked with them for 2 years. I didn't do the third year. I didn't do the third year because I couldn't handle what I was reading in them. And you don't want to know the rest of it. And I didn't want to know the rest of it. Okay. So I backed out of it and I had to literally disappear from planet Earth for a whole year. Because you don't back out of this stuff. So I'm just here to explain to you guys, everybody that's here now is on your side. And I'm trying to get councillors and mayors and all over to understand that we are all in this together. I'm getting backlash from Calgary horrifically, big backlash from Edmonton horrifically. They think I'm nuts. Nobody else does because everybody else understands it too. But I'm here just to please work with these people. These people are well informed. They are not woke. They are fully awake that stand here. I know quite a few of them here. And if you guys have any questions, any issues, anything that comes up to you guys that starts to look a little odd, you have me to ask questions to, and I will grant you any question that I can answer you. Because you got to remember, I didn't do the last year of these papers. Thank God I didn't, because I probably wouldn't be here right now. But honestly, that's pretty much what I have to say. There's some really nasty stuff coming up. Now,
Well, that's 5 minutes. I'll give you a couple more minutes to wrap up.
are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay, because okay. Well, the last 2 minutes are really good. But I want you to know that, so I did a really big meeting last night and everybody says, well, April, do you think this is falling apart? I think it's falling apart completely. I think it's absolutely collapsing on them because I'm looking, so I can tell you from one end to the other where the discussion papers are, but it's going to take me 10 hours. So what I'm looking to see now is they're doing some stuff very scattered. We would have had the second pandemic by now. They can't do it. They absolutely can't do it anymore. We were supposed to have a whole bunch of things, an array of things. Too long to list here. They haven't done it yet. They're failing. They're failing miserably. So I'm also here to tell absolutely everybody in this room that they are falling. They're failing. China is having trouble because China's in the discussion papers too. So is Russia. All of them are in there. The whole thing is falling apart. So guys, when you hear this stuff, don't take it too seriously, but take it seriously enough to know that if you get anything in this council and you want to know anything answered, I will answer it for you. And these guys are all your friends. They're not your enemies. Thank you. Thank you.
Anyone else like to speak on that matter?
I would.
My name is Clint Hutton, and I've lived in Hanna for over 40 years. And I've kind of followed a lot of the things that April brought to us. And thanks again for coming over here, April. And I guess what I'd first like to say is our mayor and town council are, in my opinion, our most important level of government. And I really mean that. There's been a lot of usurpation, or yeah, I guess that'd be the right word, of other higher levels of government coming in and taking over things that we should be in charge of. And when I was a kid, we were as a community in charge of the schools, the hospitals, and I can't think of other things, but I'm sure there's a few more. And I guess, I don't know how long I have, 2 minutes, I guess. But I guess we have to be on guard. Like April was saying, I'd like to to agree with her there. We have to be on guard for, well, maybe a thing like pandemic or who knows, God only knows what. They might, I say they because I am a conspiracy realist. I don't know that, I think some conspiracies are real. They're not just a theory. And if somebody would have said to any one of us that there would be a pandemic and we'd be wearing masks and we wouldn't be able to go in restaurants and all this, 5 years ago, you'd have laughed them out of the room. So just stuff happens. Things like 9/11 happened. There's been lots of things that happened that shaped the way our world went and brought in a whole bunch of, we'll call them new rules and regulations. And I think that's what we have to be on guard for, because pretty soon we will live, well, I should say this, when I was in high school, I'm old enough that the social studies assignment was to read the book 1984 by George Orwell, which I did just because that's what we had to do. And I never really thought about that book that much till maybe the last 30 years. And I think we could be starting to live in George Orwell's 1984. I don't know if he knew all the technology would be here that we have now, probably not. So thanks for giving me some time. Anybody got any questions? Probably not.
Excellent. Anyone else? Yeah.
I'm Gwen Peterson, grew up in Denmark. Most of you guys here met me down in the senior circle. And I was kind of been doing a lot of research on WEF and what you were doing, what you were saying, just confirmed everything I was saying down there. And that is not good. I wish I was wrong, because we are up against some very nasty stuff. Forget the normal law. You're approaching socialistic. I grew up in a socialistic regime. When they decide something, you don't have a say in the matter. If they come and look at your house, it's set aside, or you get a gun in your head. That's the way they operate. This is not going to be that way. They're going to be worse when it comes to that. So please wake up. Please. I came to this country for a reason. And I moved out here to retire, not to do this. Thank you.
Anyone else? Karen?
I'm not a public speaker, so sorry, but I just
You are.
just wanted to say, I mean, Danny, everybody, Lori, everybody, your friends, your neighbors, you love Hannah. We all love Hannah. And I do believe in my heart that none of you would intentionally hurt us or our little ones, our grandchildren, anything. You're great people. And I thank you for everything you do. I've just been hearing more and more and more, and my eyes are just getting more and more open all the time. And I'm just beg of you guys to just have open minds, listen to some of the speakers, listen to things you're hearing, or if things get questionable, like she was saying, like, it's just getting to be a scary world. And I thank you for everything, and I hope that you just pay attention and do your best and continue to keep us safe and our kids safe and do everything we can to stop some of this craziness from happening.
Thank you.
I just have a comment. I've lived in this community for over 30 years. I raised my kids and live here and decided to run for council to try and help our community. Why do you think that we would have something to do that would jeopardize what we already have?
So
as
that's
far
why
as
I said, I
community
don't
and that
think
sort of
you would,
thing.
but I don't know if you're
So-
fully open-minded.
so-
open to what is actually going.
Okay, just 1 second, let her finish, please.
Yeah, so. None of us are in the situation of wanting to jeopardize our family, our friends, our neighbors, and our community. And so I really kind of take a little bit of offense to that, people do know who I am. And if they have issues with me, I hope they come to me and ask me. And instead of, if there is some other story or accusing or thinking that one of us are going to do something that would jeopardize our community and stuff.
Which is exactly what I just said.
Well,
I don't think any of you would, and
yeah, and
that's
I
why I
appreciate
said that.
yeah.
But I do think it's also very important to open your mind and to
Well-
pay attention to everything that's going on, because
Okay,
maybe there
this,
are
I
some.
don't want this to be a discussion, so
That's all I have to say.
anyone else?
Don't forget Mrs. Clark too. So.
Yeah.
Hi, guys. First of all, I just want to say thank you for your service and everything, and I guess my thing is, this is all real. It is happening. It is the truth. People did go to Ottawa and they went for a reason. They were conspiracy theorists. They were everyday people like everyone in Hanna. And things have been drastically changing since. There's truth all over the internet. And I just feel like, infiltrators are everywhere. And we just have to do our part and make sure that they're not infiltrating you guys as well. Because greed is a real thing and it's deadly and yeah, so anyway, thanks, guys.
I totally 100% agree with this lady here, okay? I'm on Trudeau's top 100 list, okay? Let you guys know that right now. I'm tracked, I'm monitored, my bank account's been frozen. I've been to Ottawa to stand up for everybody in this room, every single person. At the municipality level, when you guys accept federal government's money, you have to abide by the rules. That's just the way it is when you accept federal money. We're just here to bring awareness to everybody of what's happening and what is coming. We're here to protect the children and the children's future to come. And we all need to come together and understand what is coming down the road at us. And it's coming fast and fierce. Look at the school boards. Look at the children. Look at the drag queen shows that they're allowing to happen. Okay? They are grooming our children. But where do we stand up? That's the mayor and she's passing bylaws that we cannot stand up for our children's rights and our futures. But as everybody in this room here, that we need to come together and look after each other. Because the government, that federal government, is a fierce force and they're coming after each and every one of us. Myself, because I stand up and I spread the truth out every single day. I have a reach of 24 to 30 million is my estimated audience. And I'm watched closely by the government for speaking the truth. What this lady speaks of is coming, and you do not want to know what is coming. If you want to sit down and have a conversation with her, if she's read these documents, I wish people could tell us the difference that we are a conspiracy nut jobs, but nobody's ever shown us the proof. These lockdowns started 3 years ago. And what does everybody do? They comply. You signed up for digital to go sit in a restaurant. You took a jab so you can take a vacation without even doing the research on these jabs. And how many children and elderly and people are dying every single day, but nobody bats an eye because we're just nut jobs.
What is your name?
I'm Ron Clark.
Yeah, sorry, just, and the gentleman before,
That's Brandon.
okay, just so we will have them in our minutes, so.
I'm from Castor, by the way. So I'll be attending one of their meetings here shortly too, and especially on the land use bylaw. The one that's trying to be implemented, that's taking rights away from us. We'll have to get a permit to put barbed wire fence up. Any permits for everything? No, I'm just saying, just all this stuff comes into play with everything that we're talking about. Every single bit of it. And it's where we need to come together as individual human beings and stand up against a tyrannical government that is forcing this stuff down our throats. Especially with our children. That's where we draw the line. Protect the children. But I'd love to have a conversation with you after we're done. I would. Thank you. That's all I had.
I'm not a public speaker either, but I'm here because I'm concerned. And because Sandra, we are all here because we love this community, our people, our family, our future. We don't doubt any one of you and your capabilities. But what I'm saying, that stuff that's coming is fast and furious and it's sugar coated. And there's a lot of stuff that's coming in under the carpet that we don't even know about. You say yes to this and it opens us up another door that, oh, we don't know. And different people we have talked to saying, well, I guess we can't expect just because we are mayors or councillors or citizens of this town that we understand everything. We're human. The stuff that's coming, we don't want to understand. We don't want to be a part of it. So what I'm saying is open your eyes, understand. We're not saying that you do understand and you wouldn't try to make the best decisions, but you make a decision that you don't know what you were presented with. So that's what we're saying is it's fast, it's furious, and it's ugly and it's black. So let's all do our homework. Let's not agree to everything that's coming down. Just because it's the federal government, just because it's a provincial government, just because there might be money attached. That's not worth it, you guys. This is our future. Our children are worth it. Thank you. That was thoroughly, you needed to put it in.
Anyone else? Okay. Hearing,
Okay, Deb.
yeah, well, you get Deb's on it. Yeah. Yeah, we'll get to Deb. I just want to speak to everyone in this room. Along the lines of what Sandra said. We are all in this room for the same reason. I moved to this community 23 years ago. Me and my wife live here. Our children live here. I run a business here. My grandchildren live here. And I'm not going to, and I'm going to swear because this is not coming out right, because I'm not going to fuck it up. I'm sorry, but if anyone in this room thinks that I would maliciously do anything to hurt this community, you're wrong.
But you're one vote.
I know. So, that being said, I thank everybody for coming. I'm a person that is not afraid to talk to people. I look at it as passion. I don't look at it as cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. People are passionate about what they believe in. That's awesome. That's all I have to say.
Mayor, just a comment. I don't know if anybody else on council wishes to.
I would
Any
just like to
comment?
say thank you. I appreciate each and every one of you that have taken time to come and present. I too, you know what, am aware of what's happening in the world. I spend many hours reading lots of documentation. I've been asked to read The Great Reset and meet with a group of people in Calgary to explain what it means. You know what, there is an awakening. There's lots happening and it's happening quickly. I thank you for the time and energy you're putting into it. And I too, you know what, I'll probably dig my grave here, or somebody will for me. So I'm gonna probably live out my life here, and I value this community, the people in it, and what we have. And I sit here today because of those values. And you know what, I'm also the voice of you people. So you know what, if you have concerns, if you're having, you know, gatherings and you want, you know, the corporate whole of us to be a part of those, to have those dialogues, please include us. Please call us and let us be a part of those conversations. We value that too, and the input that you bring to the table and the input that we can share with you as well. But thank you for coming.
Well, I'll mimic the same thoughts. Haven't been here. I'm a couple weeks away from 40 years existing here. My kids are here. My kids are already swearing they want to stay here. I work here. Well, I won't take my own grave here, but I'll have somebody here.
Take it for you.
You know, last me. But I mean, everybody's been respectful through all this. For the most part, it's and same thoughts. Include us, call us. We are approachable. And yeah, we'll offer the same respect, of course, as everybody's given us, and the same passion. We all want the same thing. We all have the same 100% distrust of anything federal attached to it. So we are all on the same page.
Counselor Kroll,
You wanna go for it? Go ahead.
well, you close under.
I've probably lived in Hanna longer than all the remainder of the council.
Not combined.
And I've got history and our family name has been in Hanna since 1912. I mean, that's as old as Hanna is. So I'm a very dedicated person to this community. I do a lot of volunteering and I'm here for any question. Anybody wants to get hold of me, my phone number is available, my email is available. I'm very passionate about this place. I'm gonna try, whether it's tomorrow or 10 years from now, but I am, this is my home. I've never left it. I'm the youngest of 16 siblings. And each and every one of us has supported him very strongly. And I mean, very strong. I can't answer every question. But if you have a problem, you have a question, if you can do some of your own research and come up with an answer for it, bring that forward, and we're more than willing, any one of us is more than willing to, support or whatever it is that you possibly need. Like and I'd like to thank you. And there's one of you said, like these government grants, nothing's for free. Always, and I mean, we can't trust, like, all we can do is take what's in writing or what the word is or whatever. Who knows what the sugar coating is or anything else, I mean. It's a matter of doing a lot of research, and I mean, it's gonna take a great number of people to come up with the answers. And the bigger the number, the better chance we have of fighting this. Okay.
Murphy,
I've been in Hanna for 12 years now. Moved here with my family. My son runs the computer store. My daughter runs the yoga studio. I have 8 grandchildren in Alberta. It's a beautiful place. I intend to live here forever. What I want you to be reassured, this is an incredibly passionate council. I don't know what the other ones were like. I wasn't on it. Every day we fight to keep our hospital open, which is really hard to do. I'm on the board for the Acadia Foundation, which is the lodge. We're fighting to get a special level put in that'll allow people who are not ready for long-term care to at least have somewhere to stay. We're working really hard behind the scenes. We don't always gloat about it and talk about it every day because a lot of us have to work. I can't right now. I lost my business and my home, but I'm trying to get that back up and running, and it's hard. Anyways, I appreciate every one of you coming. Thank you.
Counselor Thorough, you want to pitch in there?
Oh, well, I have a voice. I'd like to thank everybody that come out and voiced their opinions. And I've lived in this area for 63 years, almost as many as Fred, but I'm not quite that old yet. But no, I see what a lot of people have are saying. I've sat on enough different boards throughout this province, and when I was on the school board with Angie, it was totally different, and things are, we have to see it day by day. So it's I like everybody for coming out, and I better save my voice for a few more questions later.
Thank you, Counselor Thorough. Okay, you're more than welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting. It gets really good after this. I see we have a delegation, Deb Clark.
I've never done this before neither. Okay. As I've reflected on the last few years on the operations within the town of Hanna, some concerns were raised that I felt needed to be addressed and brought forward to the town council. I realize that this current council is not responsible for the decisions that were made in the past or the concerns that were done in the past. With the town taxpayer dollars being spent on demolition of 5 buildings in this town, the 5 buildings that became property of $413,000 of the town money to clean up someone else's responsibility. Is the town council looking into this and about how to try to prevent this in the future? I find it odd that property owners employed by the town of Hanna was one of the property owners, and while being paid by the town, left to clean up to place of their employment, like they worked in the town and we had to clean that up. And they were paid by us. Also, I'd like to take that one step further to see that where properties go in arrears, such as properties be made public before any properties are purchased by the town of Hanna employee, or to keep the town fair to all citizens. This kind of information that comes to light in town council should be used for personal gain of only few. If you know what I mean by that, like things are being done in town office, the public don't know about, like things are being sold and bought, and taxes are, people are knowing about taxes that we don't know about. Another area of interest was regarding the town forgiving loans. You guys weren't on council when this happened, and I'm thinking this was meaning the golf course. How far do we go on giving out loans? Like, who do we give them to? Who gives them? Do we get to have any say in it? My last point was about the Hockey Association wanting the arena to do their desired terms while bumping out associations that require the use of the arena facility as well. We are a small town with many people with different interests, yet we all need to come together and support one another. It has been said that the arena was built for hockey. I disagree. The arena has been known for trade shows, auctions, graduations, horse shows, funerals, rodeos, rummage sales. Plus, the rodeo has added a set of bleachers in along with repairs along the way. The loss of any of these is a loss to our community. These event planners chose these dates with great care and sometimes not to their complete control, and to do their best to accommodate as many community members as possible. Many of these events have been assets to the community to bring the people to the town which benefits not only themselves, but the businesses as well. Also, as the rummage sale, it brings a large amount of raised money to our hospital with a long list of contributions to it that benefits the community. I don't believe the town of Hanna or provincial or federal government would be willing to give $50,000 plus to the hospital on an annual basis. The rummage sale has been given all kinds of comfort and aids to not just the hospital, but long-term care. And I want to thank Angie, Fred, and Danny. You guys helped me a lot with this. I'm done.
Thank you.
Thank you. That wraps up our public presentations for the day. Or do you want to speak, Don?
On behalf of the,
My,
well, this was of course raised last month. So what, you know, and I guess to our defense, I guess we were a little unprepared last month. But, so we have been, I guess, Hunter Minor Hockey's been kind of wanting to move up the start of our season to at least parallel with most of the others that come from the other towns in Alberta. So we've been kind of pushed back with rodeo, which is fine. You know, that's extremely important for the community. You know, we've asked if there's a possibility that the rummage sale can be moved to, or find out some different solutions, whether it's bumping it back a week, whether it's moving to the end of August. You know what, as minor hockey, we have volunteers too that, you know, what can definitely step in and help out. Hockey kids can also be cleaning up. So we were looking for some other opportunities that we could possibly, you know, so right now, we have to go to Drumheller for about 3 weeks, 3 weekends of September.
just about $6,000.
So it's about $6,000. We thought it's $1,000 a day to go to Drum, to rent, just to rent the ice. Pardon me?
Doing that for over 20 years.
I know, but so we've lost that much money then, correct? Yeah, so over the last 20 years, we've been going to Drum. Drum doesn't want us. We fought with them last year. Last year, we had to go to Drum, Brooks and Stettler because they won't, because they won't give us ice. So this year, they won't even give us a discount. If we pay the rate that everyone else gets, $150 an hour. So we're trying to find a way to keep that $6,000 a year in our own pockets, in the town's pocket. So why are we playing Drum $6,000 a year to travel there? So we got to travel there. We spend our money there. We spend our restaurant. We go to their stores. We also, but we can keep that money here and we can keep our kids here. We've seen over the last, well, this year we've had 2 U18 teams. We've had 2 U9 teams, 2 U11 teams. So there is development coming up from the young kids. So we're trying to see if we can make it actually more enticing for kids to stay in it instead of traveling. Some families have 2, maybe 3 kids. So they got kids U9, got a kid that's U13, maybe a U15. So they spend the entire 8 hours there spending their money. But I think the biggest one for me, of course, is the amount of money that's been funneled to Drum, and they're making it harder and harder every year. We get the last, they schedule everything and we get whatever's left. So we'd like to keep that money here. Trying to find a way to coordinate with the rummage sale, whether we can help out, whether we can volunteer, where we can, you know, what as far as, you know, what the curling rink doesn't seem to have an issue with it, but as far as can we use the curling rink and maybe use the community center to be involved in that, so that we can start up the arena sooner. So those are suggestions. I know it's been a battle for I don't know how many years. So, and of course, we've never really had anything to change other than with the rodeo where it is now. So, but you know what, rodeo can't be changed. Maybe the rummage sale can be. I know the end of August, I thought was an opportunity. It is at the end of the month, which is an opportunity that they thought that was very important. End of August is also a time that kids are getting back to school. So a lot of times there is stuff that families are looking for. If it's furniture or clothes and stuff like that too. There is more people available possibly to assist the end of August. Schools are back in, so that means that people are around. So yeah, so just want to put some more information behind our thoughts, and hopefully maybe that can be something in the future.
Thank you, Don. Hey,
Can I just touch on what Don
sure.
said about? Hanna Minor Hockey is not the enemy in this situation. We don't want to see the rummage sale shut down. That is not our intention. We understand the good that comes from the rummage sale. We fully support it. We have offered our services and our volunteer hours. We have offered our midget kids, which are the U18 players, to help clean it up, to help set it up. We understand that the volunteers in that organization are getting older, and it is getting harder for them to find the volunteers. All we are asking for is to work with us. We understand it has been happening for 20 years this way, but it's not us setting that precedence. It is Hockey Alberta who ensures us that is setting the dates sooner and sooner for us to go. These are all coming from the city teams that get their ice all year round. Over the last 5 years that I've been involved in minor hockey, we have done a tremendous amount of good for this community, much like the rummage sale. We do not advertise our dollars spent in the community. We do not advertise our time at the nursing home that we volunteer, or the food bank donations that we bring in, the nursing home gifts that our hockey teams gave this year to those that don't have family. It's not advertised because we don't need a pat on the back. We're just simply asking for 1 or 2 weeks of your time. Thank you.
May I make a, before you leave, I can't say anything on this right now, but I know that is working on a veterinary practice and ag facility in the next little while. It would be nice to see people get behind that, and that could resolve the situation for the future. If that would be able to be set up, I know the group is working on it really hard. They've got an architect and yada, yada. But they need people that will support it. And if the community can support it in the sense, then that will solve your problems for in the next couple of years. I can't say right away, but that is something that may be able to work down the road. So if you keep in mind with that, and if you see any of that information come forward, maybe try to attend, like anybody that is interested in it, try to attend to see if that could be constructed and dealt with, and then you've got your arena or whatever you want to use it for. So, and good luck with, it's a tough one. And so it's really hard. It doesn't matter who we choose, somebody's going to be disappointed. So I apologize
Could
in
it be
advance.
conditional choice? Like, we're gonna try it this way this year. We'll see what happens. If it didn't
Well, I
work,
think the community center doesn't work, because if you work there,
no,
you move stuff
I
back and
understand
forth and
what
everything.
you're
and-
Certainly,
But-
Kendall, depending on the desire and wishes of council, anything can always be a trial project, pilot project, just because if council did make a decision to move the rummage sale for this fall, doesn't mean that, it will be forever and ever. It could certainly be a pilot project.
Well, what's
Just
led to
to
this whole
evaluate.
thing is the rodeo moving up a week.
Yes.
That's what's led to the whole.
Or
opening.
2 weeks.
The 2 weeks.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, I actually just want to add too, I think it is even beyond this. I spent some time in the school having some conversation with the vice principal there and talked about the JCC Hockey Academy. And this in fact does affect the academy too in the timelines that you guys are also dealing with, because they would rather be on the ice that much earlier too, that would enhance their programming too. And in fact, they have a leadership program for the 10 to 12s. Is an accredited program. So there is some other things at play as well with having the ice in the arena at an earlier date, from the information that I've gotten even from the school too. So anyhow.
There's a bunch of school that move the range sale for the Jews.
I think I'm just gonna say it, there's probably a lot of opportunities. It's just a matter of looking what the other opportunities are at this point in time. But I think we've never talked about, the academy, and I was thinking about it a few weeks ago, and I had some time to spend in the school, just meeting and talking about it and what it offers our students from grade 6 in skills development, and then the opportunity that Hockey Canada has enabled our students from 7 till 12, and then the credit program that also offers another opportunity for our students in school. So I think I just want to bring that to the surface too, of what that offers as well.
Okay. One thing I do want to clarify and this whole smart city 15-minute thing, somehow back in 2015 at the AGM that's what it was at that time for Alberta municipalities, there was, and Kim, maybe you can help me on this, there was a request for support or interest, I guess more was probably the proper term. Hanna did agree to sign up for that. That website, where we were still on it, I believe is taken down now.
Yes.
So I do apologize to those of you who I may have said you're crazy. Cause it is on there. In fact, I still have pictures of it on my phone. And I went, holy cow, like, and I mean, the internet's a great thing. Like you can find anything, good, bad, and otherwise. So it is taken down. We did try to respond back to the website a couple of times to the organizers of that site, and there's nothing. We couldn't get through to them. It was dead. Kyle, maybe you can help me on this. You're a little more tech savvy than I am. What was the term you used? It was.
We're trying to respond to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing's been updated since 2018. 18 was the last data that was changed on there.
So yeah.
And my theory is back then in 2015, a smart city was interpreted as LED lights, Wi-Fi, and their street lights. It's not a scary ass term that we all know now. Hence the concern with it. So yeah, we certainly want to denounce it, but they just crumbled before we had to.
So yeah, it was on the website, and I'm not, yeah. Okay. Thank
And
you.
none of us were on council at that. time.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
some of us weren't even alive by then, Fred, right? Yeah, there was no point. It was just a letter.
The organization actually dissolved in 2018.
Did they?
Yes.
Okay, so like I said, you're more than welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting. We just motion out for the adoption of the minutes of our past meeting.
Sure.
Where could you go?
All over it.
Counselor Olson, all in favor?
So that was just to clarify, Mayor, that was the minutes of February 14th.
Correct. I'm getting there, buddy.
Okay.
Thanks. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for coming. Thank you.
So I need to, Counselor Olson has made a motion to accept the council meeting for February 14th, 2023 as adopted as presented. All in favor? Please wait. Yeah, thank you. Need a motion to accept the information meeting held February 22nd, 2023 for the adoption presented. Councilor Murphy, all in favor? Carried. Maybe we'll give a few minutes here just to clear out because you guys don't, I can't believe you're not staying. So disappointed. Okay, next on the agenda is accounts payable. Has everyone had a chance to peruse through that? Any questions or concerns?
You're watching Burn.
He's gone.
Away.
Burn, Councilor Darrell's got it. Is that a way if you have a concern? Or just text me if you got anything, buddy.
Well, it's just.
Yeah, it's fine. You have something, Vern?
Very good.
Yes, I do. Under 042549, about the park benches, why do we need to order extra park benches?
So those are memorial benches. So council may recall, we have a memorial bench program. People purchase the bench for $1,500 and we put them in our parks. At the end of the day through the pandemic and the supply chain, we had 3 park benches that had been delayed upwards of 18 months. So when the opportunity came to purchase a couple extras to have them in stock, then if someone comes forward wanting a memorial bench, we can instantly deal with it versus having them have to wait for potentially a year or a year and a half. Who knows, supply chain might be better, but that was the issue. The opportunity came to have a couple in stock, and they will remain in stock until they're requested, and we probably averaging 1 to 2 memorial benches a year. So
Is that a full cost recovery when someone wants one?
we'll have to look at changing our dollars. It was full cost recovery, Councillor Olson, but I believe now the benches are about 1,700. So we'll have to look at that for future sales.
Yeah.
You good with that, Councillor Thurl? Okay, another thing with those benches, if you bring them in bulk, your freight costs, and freight costs are a huge crunch right now, so if you bring in more, you get it for cheaper, so.
Yeah.
Anything else? Seeing none, hearing none, oh, Councillor.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm in revenue and expenses, sorry.
So you're okay with
Yeah, I'm sorry,
payables?
yes, yes.
Motion to accept payables for general accounts, check number 42538 to 42563, and direct deposits for 001824 to 001894 for information. Motion, Councillor Kroll, all in favor? Carried. Statement of revenues. Any questions or concerns?
Is this,
Well, mine is revenue and expense. So-
this is where we're at, I believe.
Oh, okay, sorry. Yes, I had a question regarding, it's, council goods, 211 500 to deal with 57, 55, 67 of council goods. I just wasn't sure what that was.
So the majority of that, I believe 5,600 is the counselor's technology allowance.
Okay.
Because it's 800 per counselor, so.
That's it. Just confirming. Thank you.
Any other questions? Hearing none, can we get a motion to accept the statement of revenue and expense for the report February 2023 for information? Councillor Warwick. All in favor? Councillor Kroll, carried. Budget overview 6.03. Questions, concerns? Oh, Councillor Murphy's got the glasses up.
No, it's blurry.
Oh,
No, no. And some of it's so hard to read.
Yeah.
No questions. though. I'm good.
Okay. Motion to accept the overview for information for February 2023. Councillor Olson. All in favor? Councillor Kroll. Carried. Committee reports. Municipal Planning Commission, February 22nd, 2023. Any questions? I think it went relatively well. It maybe wasn't what some people expected, but it was.
No, this is municipal.
Oh, sorry,
planning
yeah,
commission.
planning, sorry, yeah.
This NPC was a subdivision for a piece of land to be consolidated with another
Correct, yeah,
one.
sorry.
Yeah.
Council decision. No questions, council accept the report for information municipal planning committee, February 22nd, 2023. Councilor Bowden, all in favor? Carried. Senior administrative reports.
Just gonna touch on a few highlights in my report, Mr. Mayor. So, as you know, we've been, working with MPE, our engineers, on several different projects, the downtown redevelopment project. Couple things just to identify. So as part of the process, we did do 6, boreholes to determine the makeup of the soil in our roadway on Second Avenue. Definitely, there is significant contaminated road site. So it isn't necessarily a surprise, but it certainly, as if we move forward with the project, will increase the cost of the project because that material will have to be hauled away. So we knew, there were histories of automobile stations, gas stations, etc. It looks like a good portion of that has expanded into the roadway. So if we do move forward with that project, we will have to, that will have to be factored in terms of an additional cost on the project. So
can we land farm that material or does it have to go to disposal?
well, my understanding was it has to go to an approved landfill. So I know the engineers were gonna be talking with Mr. Olmsted with Big Country Waste to see if they can accept it and can manage it at their site. So
You should be able to land farm that, yeah. So by land farming, you basically, for example, the ATCO lot, or whatever you want to call it, you lay that there and work it back and forth and aerate it and rejuvenate that soil. We should,
that'll be a question we can follow up with
Yeah.
Alberta Environment, because Alberta Environment will have to, they will have to be here and
oil for sure.
it's a soil they don't want anywhere else. So just wanted to bring that to you. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, just the word contaminated has me think nasty, like
Well, petrocarbons, all right. I don't know if that's the right term.
specific.
Pretty much specific, yeah, leaking fuel tanks,
10,000 oil changes just dumped on the ground.
Yeah.
That's the standard.
There are people who live in apartments on that road. Are they at risk?
No one's at risk. It's in the soil.
It's on.
It's in the soil, right? So it will, just as a heads up as we're moving forward, that is something we'll have to look at. So I did meet with them last week. They got 30% drawings done in Class C cost estimate, which is the very early one. But we will be having MP here at our council info session to review the drawings and cost estimates. They'll have about 60% of the design drawings done at that point in time. Have a better handle on some of these things, and certainly these questions can be asked of them as well, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, just like,
Yeah.
I know we had a lot in Elk Point. I hate to go back to Elk Point, but that's what they do for land there, so.
Well, Youngstown, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Councilor, well,
I had experience with AFSC and Youngstown. That land was contaminated. It was mounded up on a pile and aerated, and it was aerated for a couple of years.
Trouble
It's a long
is, yeah, the trouble is, when we're doing that project, you're removing the soil, you're putting clean soil back, so you can, build the road base, so.
yeah, Councilor Troll, sorry.
Yeah, there's
Well, if we're gonna tear up the streets, why aren't we doing the infrastructure more so than what kind of beautification?
That's part of the project.
We're gonna do infrastructure? in
Yes.
this
Yes.
project?
Yeah.
and that.
That's
That was
the,
the priority of it.
yeah, that's probably half to 3/4 of the costs, but we said we weren't gonna do the above ground stuff if we weren't gonna fix the stuff that was aged underneath, so that's where the contaminated soil, we weren't gonna do that, they would have just built right on top and everything, so it's the fact that we're gonna be excavating that and excavating the water and sewer and sanitary mains that
It's awesome.
bring that up, so again, still at a very preliminary state, but it is moving along meeting by meeting. So the other thing I just wanted to touch base in my report, so under the land use bylaw review. So we know we had the open house, there were a lot of questions, concerns. We did extend the time for residents to provide their feedback to March 22nd. This has delayed the anticipated timeline that we had at the start, and that's fine. We're not here to rush it through. So what it basically means, the next step in this process is that Palliser, following the 22nd, will be preparing their What We Heard report. And what they heard, what the concerns were, what was identified, how it was addressed. And that report will be available for council to receive at their April 11th council meeting for information. And again, there'll be discussion with council at that point, what the next steps would be and where they want to go. So certainly the ball's still in council's court, but we'll have that information and that report to you at the April 11th meeting. So go ahead, Councilor Bowden.
Sorry.
I have a couple questions.
Sure.
If you don't mind. We had a Harvest Sky meeting this morning and there was discussion. I see that you've met with the IC or met with them discussing the IC operations.
Yes.
Is there anything that you can let us know as to what, is Harvest Sky going to be expected to look after?
Well, I guess I won't use the word expected. Certainly meeting with representatives of Lynx who did do it the last 2 years. And with Mark Dakota with Harvest Sky, they indicated they felt there was a fit there for Harvest Sky to be involved because of the tourism component of the visitor information set. So we've kind of gone down that road based on the interest that appeared to be there, that they would look at that. Timing wise, there is some grants for summer students and summer jobs, and Harvest Sky did apply for them. They would have the best chance to apply for them. And if Harvest Sky gets those grants, it's probably going to be it won't be a financial question for them. If they don't get the grants, then there'll have to be some discussion, I think, between the town and Harvest Sky. I know Harvest Sky doesn't want to shoulder a deficit load for the operation. And prior to 2 years ago, the town managed that deficit. So it will be 100% honest, there is a deficit to run the BIC unless you're successful in getting significant grants for students to operate. So we're still in that discussion stage, but the intention, until I hear otherwise, is that Harvest Sky is looking at doing that. And I indicated to them that we're open to discussions regarding finances and cost of operations.
Well, I think there was some discussion about the fact that we have an economic development officer who's getting paid for economic development. And if he's expected to go out and some ice cream or, providing there is some of the staff, students are hired that are capable to manage it. If that doesn't happen, well, then he will be out there. And I think that was what our concern was, is are we paying big bucks? Are we paying a lot for basically he's overqualified?
Yeah, no, 100%.
There could be an opportunity to maybe have a shared role with somebody within the town office.
Possibly, yeah, and we're open to that discussion. And we indicated that to Mark. We're open to that discussion. They just felt that their, economic development, tourism generally falls under economic development, and
I
it
think
was
we agree on
kind
that.
of a fit. But nobody, including me, that would not be wise use of resources to have Mr. Nakota out there serving ice cream.
Well, that's what we were concerned about. I just wanted to be done that
Yeah.
too. The other question I have is regarding the business hub. We see that you've met several times with them. We still have no idea what the plans are with the business hub. As far as economic development collaboration, is that going to ever be? We understood that there's been information that has come from Harvest Sky to to yourself as well as to, special areas, indicating, basically proposals. It came through 13 ways, it came through insight, as far as getting a collaboration within all of special areas that, so there's not duplication within one area and another area. And I think the business have, you know, it's kind of difficult to know where it may go, and are there decisions being made that really we have no background information on it. You know, what has the discussion been regarding the economic development collaboration of it? If the meetings have been going on for a while, is there anything that can be shared on that?
So there's, I don't think, there's been some meetings, but I don't think there's been no decisions made. I think you guys attended, or most of you attended the meeting at special areas.
Yeah, but there needs to be a decision, and I think the decision has got to be between.
Well, the
town
decision,
and
the decision from special areas was they're not prepared to put any more money into that portion of the operation.
I don't know that that was a formal.
It wasn't a formal motion, but that's the consensus from the chairman of the board. They're not prepared. The options we looked at were an extra $300,000 or $500,000, and it wasn't sustainable.
Yeah.
So it's.
And
Guys.
and so I guess the future of that building is.
Well, the building is a town-owned building,
Right, I realize.
so
that.
it's our building.
But whether or not he remains there, like economic development, or Harvest Guy remains there, whether there's another option for him, whether there's people interested in purchasing that building, or really what.
All of those are options, Councillor Bowden. So as you recall, in our 2023 operating budget, we do have, it is based on the presumption that Harvest Sky and Chamber of Commerce will remain as tenants in that building, and versus paying their money to Lynx, they will pay their rent to the town. So we've got that factored into our budget.
Right.
And then as far as whether Harvest Sky wishes to stay in that building and lease that space, that's a decision for Harvest Sky. I don't think at this point council's in a position, or they have not directed me to say we want them out of that building so we can use it for other purposes, i.e. sell it or lease it to someone else. So we've kind of, and I've gotten requests from both Harvest Sky and the Chamber of Commerce about a rental agreement. So from that point, I'm moving forward with providing them with a rental agreement, lease agreement for them to continue to be in that space and use that space.
And I think there was, given the small amount that is put towards Harvest Sky to operate, $6,000 a year was a fair amount to pay.
Yes, and
so
that's what our
we were
budget is built
discussing
on.
as well,
Yeah.
and whether or not there's other options that could offset that.
Yeah, if Harvest Sky made a decision, they didn't want to be in that space anymore, then that's their decision to make. Same with the chamber.
Councilor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I guess that's where I have a little bit of concern is Harvest Sky will be paying approximately $500 a month rental in that building, and the Chamber of Commerce will pay $300. So in total, that's $800 a month to keep that facility up and going. And I'm just wondering, I think it's due time that we have the conversation about what that looks like. And maybe we do that in this, in this spring, budget. And consider what all of that looks like, because I don't know that the numbers in my mind align themselves to have that capacity of a building with these two entities in it paying, $800 a month. I guess I do have some concerns about what that looks like.
Yeah, that's pretty close. It's probably somewhere in the neighborhood of about $10,000 a year to operate that building. And this year will benefit because Lynx is paying the first 3 months, so we'll have the $6,000, $2,000 a month for those first 3 months. So, but yeah, it's certainly open. Like I said, it's not going to be the same operation as it was, unless both the special areas in the town of Hanna want to put substantial dollars into keeping it in the fashion it was when Lynx was running the business hub.
Well, I think there may be opportunity to lease other space out to other individuals, other companies that might be interested in leasing out some office space for some of that building that may help offset some.
Yeah, no doubt. There's probably a room available.
Mhm.
3 of the 4 offices are full, but there's probably will be a room that's open following the hub being completed at the end of March.
Mhm. Yeah, because it'd be nice to know by the end of June, really what the direction is gonna be with that building.
Because, just for confirmation then, thank you, Mr. Mayor, Lynx will be moving out on March or June 30th, right?
Well,
So
they're
that-
officially, their rent is officially done March 30th or 31st.
So no longer after March 31st will we be getting any kind of compensation from Lynx in regards to support of that
Correct.
facility. So we're down to, once again, we're down to the $800.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. So I guess my question is when do we have this conversation? When does it come to the table in the next while and we have a conversation?
Whenever council wishes to have that conversation, like I said, we had it at budget time. And we prepared our operating plan based on those figures, which was approved by council. Council wants to reconsider that, we can reconsider that at any time. Like I said, it's not unusual for the town to subsidize the operation of a town facility. And you're right, if we're only getting $7,200 a year in revenue rent, there will be a subsidy of that building.
It's actually about
to keep it
9,600. 603.
800,
800.
you get 800, yeah, 800 times 12.
12 is 9,600.
Yeah. So it's probably pretty close unless something
$400
goes
shortfall.
crazy. But we all know operating costs have gone up, so, so that's where that's at. Councilor Bowden,
I wonder if it could be brought forward on our info session, that we could have a discussion regarding that. You know, if somebody comes forward and wants to put an offer into purchase, are we willing to relocate those occupants? Or,
well, that's a decision you guys have to provide me direction on.
yeah.
If you're willing to sell the building and.
Well, I
and
don't
have
know,
them
and
leave,
that's
so-
what, you know, I think somebody has expressed some interest in the building. And that, I think is what we're trying to figure out. Where do we have this discussion?
I think the financials need to be before us, and we have to look at those once again and consider it. I mean, we had this meeting with special areas. You know, in my mind, the numbers did not align themselves. And once again, I guess I would like to see those numbers in front of us and what that looks like. I mean, you know, I just, not only optics, but you know what, our financial responsibility, I'm not sure I'm in favor of, you know, having a building at that capacity with no support behind it to, you know, financially support a building like that. We have lots of facilities in the town of Hanna. And I don't know that we need any more that are not being fully utilized. So I think we need to have a conversation about what that looks like. I'm going to the meetings. I sit as a board member on Harbor Sky, and when this was presented to me today, I was actually kind of taken back a little bit by it, with really just feeling like maybe we should have had the conversation at the table here first, because we do own the property.
We own the
and-
building.
And we
Yeah.
have funded, and the funding that's coming in to support that property is very, very minimal, in my opinion. So, but anyhow, I think we need to have the financials in front of us.
Well, I
and we
don't
need to have a
wanna,
conversation.
they are in front of you, like,
Yeah.
in terms of the building operation, they're in front of you every month.
Right.
$9,600 a year to run it, or sorry, $10,000 a year to run it, we're generating $9,600. There's a $400 shortfall. There is some money, if I'm not mistaken, put away in reserve for.
Yeah, we've been making a profit off of that building the last 3 years, so we've been taking that profit off of the building, so the net between the revenue and the expenditures and putting it into a reserve for that building to deal with any big capital issues that may come, whether it needs a new furnace or needs a new hot water tank, we've got a reserve, probably, I'm guessing, and this is off the top of my head, we're probably pushing close to 25 to 30,000 in that reserve right now, so.
Well, unless we can come up with an anchor tenant that's gonna be around for a number of years that can offset and generate some additional revenue for that, but are we gonna be managing it, or is Harvest Sky going to be expected to manage it?
So we manage the building.
Right, but I mean, down the way, like.
Well,
will we
Harvest,
continue to manage it?
Harvest Sky is our economic development arm.
Right.
So they will provide us direction on how they want to proceed as a board.
Yeah, and I said that
Yeah.
as well, so that's kind of what brought this on, was to.
So
get
I
some
can't,
feedback. I think they're kind of waiting to get some feedback from the town as well.
but I don't know what feedback they want from us, Counselor Bowden. I guess that would be a question that I would have, is what feedback does Harvest Sky want from the town, and then we can address that.
Well, I guess what's gonna go on with the economic development collaboration, whether.
But the economic development collaboration is, Harvest Sky is our economic development arm. They'll be the ones.
I believe there was some discussion about working it all together and whether or not maybe they can, I don't know, just.
Well, there was some discussion at a very high end, but I can't speak for special areas, and I can't speak for how they want to proceed. They have their own economic development arm and do things economic development wise a little bit different in the other zones that they're in. And I know that they have had a discussion on whether it would be worthwhile bringing it together, but because when we talk region, and we are a region, we're special areas too, but if they want to expand that to 3 and 4, that's probably a big derivative will be from special areas wanting to push that agenda, if that's the agenda they want to. Certainly, as a partner in Harvest Sky, we would have to be amenable to it. But that's been on special areas plate to look at that, because they're the majority funder and stakeholder if we went totals 2, 3, and 4. So I don't know if I gave you a good answer to that. I think if there's some specific questions, I'd certainly probably do better at it, so.
I guess just maybe some long-term plans for that building if we have it. And
Yeah, so we don't have any long-term plans for that building.
I think we should kind of look at that.
And that's a decision that council wishes to make to put the building up for sale, to do some stuff like that. If that's a decision of council, we'll certainly do that.
Well, and I don't know, but we need to have that discussion.
Yeah. I'm just moving forward. I'm just moving forward with what was presented in the operating budget. So, and that plan. So
Okay.
at least for 23.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Mayor.
A couple quick ones, they'll be easier. Those high pressure gas lines.
Yeah,
Does that mean all those little shacks are gone, or little spots, or just that one by the community center?
just the one by the community center.
Okay. For assessments now that are all out,
Yes.
can you speak on, I've never been more excited to see my assessment not go down. To be on this side of it, but is everything pretty stable by comparison to last year, or?
Yeah, I think overall, and I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I think overall there is a slight increase in assessment. So when we bring that forward with setting the tax rate, certainly that'll play part of that. If the expectation from council is still to generate the same municipal taxes we did last year, and we have increased assessment, that means the tax rate can go down. So there is a slight increase in assessment, Councilor Olson.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
do we need a notice of motion to bring this back to the next meeting to have conversations around the Harvest Sky business hub?
I don't think you need a notice of motion, Council Work. Certainly we'll add it to the agenda. But again, I need some direction from Harvest Sky in terms of what they want us to talk about and what they want for answers. And again, I can't speak for special areas and what their future of economic development is. So
thank you.
The other thing I just wanted to mention, provincial budget, I don't know if you noticed so we did see a pleasant surprise. So we'll certainly deal with that at budget amendment time. But our MSI operating was doubled. So that's a significant boost plus. Everything else stayed pretty much the same. Our capital grant is still terribly low. I know that's a discussion with AM in terms of trying to get that pot larger. The pot will increase. There's proposed to increase next government fiscal year, but at $277,000 a year, we're getting a third of a block of infrastructure. So I just wanted to bring that to you. The audit, it has been completed. Endeavor accountants were in, or Ascend were in the office last week, completed that. They will be presenting the financial statements at our April meeting for council's information. Signage, so you may have seen around town, some of the signage has been going up. Again, need to reiterate that that's not town taxpayers' dollars. That's the grant through Harvest Sky and through Prairies Can. They will be doing some more on the signage again next week, Thursday of this week, and on some of the facilities. And then when the snow's gone, they will be then moving forward with the directional signs and entrance signs. So anything that needs a screw pile in it, we've asked them to wait until then. So the other thing before I forget, Mr. Mayor, just want you all to have in your calendar the municipal emergency officials course.
I get them.
It is the March 23rd.
Mark it in your
I
calendar.
think you all said you could attend,
I don't know that was there a time?
8:30 a.m.
Yeah.
8:30 till probably 12:30. And it will be at the fire hall. And since I will be away, Mr. Mole will provide you with a reminder. But it is confirmed for the 23rd at 8:30 a.m. at the fire hall. And Mr. Mole has reached out to special areas and some of the other communities around to see if they have anyone who needs to have the course, and the instructor said they could handle up to about 20 people. So you guys have the first 7 seats, and if others need more, they will have the opportunity. So no, I let David know. So if something changes, I don't want to say if something changes and can't go, let him know, but it would be great if you could make the effort to be there. It's been a long time trying to fit it in and get it in for you guys. So, and I think that's it. The only other thing I wanted to touch briefly on, Mr. Mayor, in the community services reports. So some of you will know Live Barn is up and running. I haven't subscribed, but I've had some positive feedback there. We are getting close to the end of the season, so we are looking at shutting the plant off around March 24th, 25th, depending on how our teams do in the next rounds. They might still need the ice in for that last weekend. Other than that, they're moving forward, looking forward to the season. It's a long haul in the arena for 6 months, and the staff's excited to be able to get outside and get 2 regular hours. The only other thing on Michelle's report, I think you'll see some more information in our newsletter that's going out this week, but we did do that, and I'm probably gonna make a mess of it, but the Dagashi to exchange smiles with the town of Waukee and our kids. So they had sent over they'd sent over a bunch of what they call penny candies to us, and wanting to spread peace and smiles. Councilor Warwick has samples of them all.
I'm not sharing them.
So we did do a program at Kitty's Corner with the classes at Kitty's Corner. and with the kids at JC Share kindergarten to grade 4. So there were some pictures we've got that we'll put in our newsletter and a little bit of an explanation upon it, so. And with that, talk too much. If there's any questions, I'll do my best.
Sorry, I have a question. Is there any opportunity to get in that live barn, for the ball diamonds at all, or not?
Not through that program. They're,
I think somebody asked me.
yeah, as far as I know, they're specific for arenas
Inside
and hockey. That's kind of where it originated from.
Mr. We have a good question about the high pressure gas lines.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was at the last meeting because I missed it, but what's happening? Why are they getting rid of high pressure gas lines?
Just the potential liability to have high pressure lines in an urban area. I know it's been like that for however long the system's been there, but
It's kind of disturbing.
well,
After the fact, we're
yeah.
gonna remove them because
No.
they were dangerous.
they're trying to do that all across there.
Okay.
It's like everything else,
Like
you,
asbestos.
things
Yeah.
change,
Right.
standards change, expectations change.
Is that a high pressure line by the golf course?
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a shack there, so
Yeah,
that's why I asked that.
yeah.
Right. They didn't mention that one.
Yeah, that one's not included in their plans, but I don't know.
It's not, it's also not in the way like that one.
I'd have to double check with Derek, but I don't know if that is a high pressure, because they are moving that line and trying to reduce it to medium, the one from the community center, as well as the one that runs down Palliser Trail. To convert them all to medium pressure. And they will be putting a new substation out. But the substation will be out in special areas on the edge of the town of Hanna special areas boundary along Fox Lake Trail.
Thank you.
Is there anything to plan to that, is it a substation that's on the, just off of Pioneer Trail, just on the west side of Pioneer Trail, as you turn on for off of Highway 9? Right, kind of kitty corner to the Brant building.
I don't believe so. I don't,
Only
that's
big
an
substation.
ATCO,
Yeah.
that's electric.
Yeah.
That's an electricity substation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I did hear that regarding the solar panels, that the lines there are old and may have to be upgraded. That solar panel is planning on using.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that, Councilor Bowden. I know that's why the land they're looking at is attracted to them because of the closeness to the substation. I know as part of the process, when the developer was here, he indicated they were doing a study with ATCO Electric in terms of what was the capacity of that substation. And I think that's where, I think if you remember when they were here originally, they had said the project was planned to be between 13 and 35 because they weren't sure how much power they could export onto the grid at that substation. But with them now coming out with recent information, they're talking 30 megawatts. I'm assuming that's the feedback they got from ATCO Electric in terms of the capacity. So.
Thank you.
Anything else?
So, Mr. Mayor, we did screw up our public hearing.
We did.
Well, it was supposed to be at 7 o'clock.
Oh, sorry.
So, that's your fault. We kind of got in and there wasn't.
I'm okay with it, but
That's so naturally segued out.
yeah,
So maybe if we could go back to that, Mr. Mayor?
yes.
Or go ahead to that, I should say. Because on your. Well, we're not done by report, or our reports now. So it's 10.01, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah. Do you want to take a quick break before we dive into that? Like a 5-minute break? Council Warwick's not gonna be able to adjourn for 5 minutes.
Recess.
Recess for 5 minutes.
I got a train to Washington.
3 minutes, come on.
Did you give us 3 minutes?
It gives 5, but he's taking it away.
That, eh?
Okay, call it back into session. Public hearing bylaw 1030-2023 advertising bylaw. At the February 14th council meeting,
So you'll just read the rules of the procedures on the second page, Mr. Mayor.
the rules of procedure, there will be an explanation of the purpose of public hearings given by administration. The town of Hanna, as the applicant for the proposed advertising bylaw, will be given the opportunity to explain their reasons for having the bylaw before the hearing concludes. The applicant will be given the opportunity to make some closing remarks. Any person present who wishes to address the public hearing, either in opposition or support, may do so. We will ask all those present that wish to make a presentation to give us your name, who you represent, and whether you support or oppose the proposed bylaw. A list will be prepared so that we can call you forward and make your presentation. All presentations made to council will be restricted to 5 minutes. Your cooperation in affording everyone the opportunity to make their views known is greatly or sincerely appreciated. No discussion will be permitted during the making presentations. Only councilors will be permitted to ask questions on the presenters for points of clarification. The purpose of public hearing is for the council, the town of Hanna, to gather information regarding the proposed advertising bylaw and to be able to consider all options when deciding whether the proposed amendment should be put into place.
So, Mr. Mayor, the explanation, the purpose of the public hearing, so as council will remember, with the Hanna Herald closing their print edition and media, we had relied on them to provide all of our advertising, including our statutory requirements for advertising. Under the section 606 of the Municipal Government Act, council was regulated to give notice of certain bylaws, resolutions, meetings, elections, a notice of nomination day, advance votes, public hearings, or other things by advertising in a newspaper or other publications circulating in the area, for mailing or delivering a notice to every residence in the affected area or by another method provided for in a bylaw under 606.1 of the Municipal Government Act. So section 606.1 was added to the MGA several years ago in an attempt to reduce the print cost of advertising to municipalities, recognize more modern methods that people were choosing to find out their municipal information. So section 606 states that council may by bylaw provide for one or more methods, which may include electronic means for advertising proposed bylaws, resolutions, meetings, public hearings, and other things referred to in section 606. Although this has been an option for several years, administration has not brought forward a request to create an advertising bylaw. Under the sections, the town has wanted to provide support to the local Hanna Herald business. With them closing that option off, we did bring a advertising bylaw to council at our last meeting for first reading. We did advertise that bylaw and the public hearing for tonight. If anybody had any concerns or objections in regards to the advertising bylaw. Basically, the advertising bylaw creates a number of opportunities that the town can use to advertise bylaws, resolutions, statutory hearings, development permits. So we presented that to council last meeting, got first reading. We did have a discussion about advertising, an advertising policy. We just haven't got that created at this point. But we intend to, as you recall from that discussion, we have a plan as to what will be advertised, when and how. And in the meantime, our default for anything statutory or regulatory that was required to go into a newspaper previously, we will be using the EC review in the short term here until we we have the policy figured out. We felt that was the best newspaper that we could use in this area, that residents do receive. And so that's how we move forward with it. So at this point, Mr. Mayor, it's weird that we're the applicant. It's usually someone else that's here as the applicant, but we're the applicant. And I guess that would be our explanation of what we're bringing forward for second and third reading. And if now I guess, Mr. Mayor, you can ask if there's anybody in support or opposed to the advertising bylaw.
Anyone in support of the new advertising bylaw? Opposed?
I don't know if it's support or opposed though, so this. I know that you have to have the bylaw and I understand and appreciate all the 9 different choices, which is really nice to have. We just don't know where you're going with it. We just don't know. And we're just concerned because some of the older people in town are not sure how they're gonna get this information. And even some of the younger ones don't like looking online at the websites. Just want to make sure that that's well aware that those older people are expressing that concern.
Yeah, no, we.
That's one of our major
Yeah,
concerns we had.
but you know that the 9 options are awesome and just we need it consistent and clear where it's.
And that's the next, what we're doing is as I said, we met with council at our info session and gave them a draft of how we would like to see the advertising pulled out. Certainly there will probably be more reliance on social media for events and programs and stuff like that. But in the interim and as we move forward, it's going to be a bit of a trial and error, but we are going to continue to use the ECA review until we get that policy procedure approved by council. And that will have a matrix in terms of if we're planning or having to advertise a statutory hearing, these are the methods we're going to use. If we're going to be advertising a youth club dance at the community center, these are what we'll use and kind of lay it out in those terms. So, but in the interim, we are going to use the ECA review.
Okay, perfect. Did that answer?
Yeah, I know, yeah. no,
Okay.
that's good, perfect. That's just all.
So the other thing, Mr. Mayor, I did get a letter received yesterday from the bakers. And so the gist of their letter was similar to what the speaker just said. They rely on the newspaper. They rely on written stuff that they will get from their mailbox or see in posters or whatever. So they basically were just urging at the end of the day that council not forget about those people who do receive their information primarily through print source of some are not on the computer, are not on the internet, and not to rely solely on that. So, and that's not our expectation moving forward. So. And I don't have any further closing remarks, Mr. Mayor. So
Nothing to add?
nothing to add.
Okay, well, anything from council? We'll close the public hearing. 7:41.
So we can go back, Mr. Mayor. I'm not sure if Director Armstrong has anything to add to her report, or if there's any questions for her report or Director Olson's report.
Oh, I was thinking, never mind, yes. As Kim had mentioned, we've got a newsletter coming out with utility bills in the next couple of days. But and I'm sure that you've all seen this, I know some of you have, I just wanted to bring a little bit of different promo. I mean, we try really hard to keep Hanna out there, especially to the ratepayers and the local people in our outlying areas, to try really hard to keep them abreast of what's going on within our community. But I feel it's also important for us to communicate when we can that, you know, hey, we're here, we're busy, we're happy, we're a great place to be. So we did have a local person who was attending the Juno Awards. And she made a special trip. She used to be local, doesn't live local anymore. Made a special trip to Hanna to pick up some local Hanna swag. And threw it from the red carpet, and quickly her girlfriend snapped pictures. So Chad's holding a Hanna toque, one of our Hanna toques. So she got about 3 seconds. And I don't think he knows what he's been holding there yet. And maybe never will, but yeah, I thought that was kind of fun to get Hanna out there. So I haven't looked. I just did a quick post on that with her permission to share that this afternoon. I just did it on Facebook. Tomorrow I'll maybe do Twitter if I get 10 minutes to do that. And I can let you know what the uptick has been on that, if we've gotten any extra mileage out of that or not. That was all the extra I had to share, unless anybody has any questions. I'm sorry?
Our new photo time again.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're tentatively scheduled for the next council meeting. And yes, thank you, Kim. I was looking at March, obviously, on my calendar instead of April.
So 5 p.m.-ish?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah,
Thank you.
everything the same.
Didn't fool me this time, no shirt and tie.
I should have waited a few more
Yeah.
Can I just add
Go ahead.
to Lori's comment there that for those who did not watch the Junos, the boys were awesome. They stood up and their first thing was, we are from a small town, Hanna, Alberta. And so for them to be at their level and to be promoting the community that they were born in and, I don't know, born in, but raised in and such, I think that's pretty awesome. So I just wanted to share that. That, yeah.
I've always been very positive ambassadors.
Yeah. Very nice.
Anybody who's left here has been
Mhm.
a good ambassador, and musicians and sports stars and.
Thank you.
So I don't know if there's any questions I can try and answer for Director Olson. He's at the Alberta Water Wastewater Conference. And so he's not here tonight, but if there are any questions, I'll do my best to answer them.
That's a long conference.
Yeah,
Is that standard that it's?
Yeah.
5 days?
7 days of wastewater.
and they're all
Shitty.
it's highly attended primarily because it is long and they get their CEUs that they need to keep
Oh,
to
they're
hold
getting their
their water.
Oh, the
So many
certification.
credits.
Yes, so many
Yeah.
continuing education credits
Yeah,
to be able to retain their licenses, so.
So it's training, not just a conference.
Well, yeah,
So that's good. Thank you.
there's no questions.
How many do we have to have, Kim, from tell them have the credits for the sewage?
Water and sewer, just one. We have two.
Okay.
Wes does as well. It's always good to have backup.
For sure, that's one of the things that with the Henry Kruger situation, well, that ON had with their water people when they had their little hiccup and not having enough people in place and no succession planning and not realizing that they actually all had to do was swing a valve and they were fully operational without doing anything other than swinging that valve. But by the time everyone realized what could have been done, it was too late. That could have been a really bad situation with that water sitting stagnant for as long as it did, so. But yeah, Garth gave the town for, the support we give them and. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, so Brent and Wes both have their water and wastewater level too, so.
Anything else for Brent? Again, snow and blow, it's a challenge.
Well, we're now moving, I think the next focus for them will be just keeping water running in terms of catch basins and culverts and stuff, because it is gonna start, eventually it's gonna start slower the better for us, but trouble we have is still with it getting cold at night. If it runs during the day and then it freezes fairly hard at night, then all the catch basins are froze the next morning again, so you're back at them, thawing them out, so that's kind of gonna be the next focus here as we start to get a little warmer, so.
Motion to accept senior administrative official reports 8.01 to 8.03 for information. Counselor Bowden. All in favor? Or do you have?
Another question?
You have to unmute yourself, Mr. Crawford.
I think we're good to go.
Does Vern have a question?
He gave a thumbs up.
Oh,
I think he wanted, yeah, he's fine.
Okay, and I spoke briefly to this one, the Alberta Smart Cities Alliance membership termination. The council requests the Alberta Smart Cities Alliance to terminate the town of Hannah's membership. Need a motion for that. Councilor Warwick, all in favor? Carrie.
Wherever it came from.
And if I can just speak to that, I asked that to be on the agenda just because there was lots of conversation around that. And although that organization has been dissolved in 2018, I just wanted to, to stand that.
No, it's,
no
yeah.
longer,
Clarification's awesome.
I don't know where I'll send a letter of termination to Council Warwick. but-
Well, and it's kind of interesting with that because I did send a letter to the president of AUMA, Kathy Heron, just to ask her, and I never did get any response back. But I will be in Edmonton in a week from now, and I will be seeing Kathy, and I will ask her at that time.
Well, and
if
the
she
city
can-
of St. Albert was the driving.
That's right.
impetus.
She is the mayor of St.
Yeah,
Albert,
yeah.
so yes, oh, right. Thank you.
Okay, 9.0223 fall rubber sale date. Councilor Kroll.
I'd like to ask for an extension on this motion.
So table it.
Yeah, I think, Council Crowell would like to table the motion to a future meeting, and I'll let him explain his reasons why.
I wanna go to the Hanna Doctor's Clinic board meeting prior to this. I wanna get some input from the doctors and everything else. And I wanna attend Minor Hockey Association meeting, AGM in April. So I can get the information, right from them. Of course, I guess.
Councilor Murphy.
I would like to see whether or not there are any other facilities or buildings. They don't necessarily have to belong to the town that could be utilized for the rummage sale on a more consistent basis so that there isn't this stress. I'm very supportive of both organizations are actually fantastic. And, there's the building at the end of was that First Ave that used to belong? Was that Quinn's building?
Yeah, fantastic.
There's several large buildings. How much square footage does the rummage sale need?
Well, I think there's a couple of things there, Councilor Murphy. They need significant floor space to obviously display their product, but the other concern that you need to be cognizant of is parking.
Yeah.
So like when you look at Quinn's shop, there's no real parking in the vicinity, and you would hate for people just to park on the road and be an accident there, and because we know how many people come and we know how many vehicles are there. So there's a few things to take into consideration, not just a building that size, but
there's things you can, shut the street down. There are things that could be done
possibly,
to accommodate without us going, no, it's just not going to happen. They need that date. So what can we do? So I'd like to certainly start asking around while you're working on that, Fred. I'd like to.
Well,
to see what I can
the first thing, Councilor Murphy, that needs to happen is we need to have a vote on the tabling motion. So if the majority approved the table to a later council meeting, then it will be tabled and it will provide Councilor Crowell or whoever with some more opportunities to do some more research. And even administratively to look if there are any other options. They would be privately held options, so you have to have that discussion with the private landowner too, so.
I can guilt trip them.
And,
And I,
Okay,
and I think, yeah, I think we do have, like I said, there's no, I don't know if there's a real urgency to make this decision, but I don't know if there's a, council will decide whether they're ready to make the decision tonight or whether they want a little more information. So,
So you've made has he made the motion?
yes, the
Okay.
motion is on the
so
table.
we have a motion,
I'll second that motion.
There's no second.
there's no seconder.
Oh, not in this. council.
All in favor of table?
Is there any further questions or
Yeah.
comments first?
well, and I just want to say, Mr. Mayor, that this is only for one, like the fall sale. The spring sale will remain the same, right? There's no change there. It's just primarily for the fall sale,
Correct.
just, yeah, and we're moving it up in 1 week. Is
Well, that
is-
would be the option. That would be an option.
We'll
They
be
could
up
move it
1
up a
week, or
month
if they
if
wanted to
they
stay with the
wanted.
month end thing, then they can go
Oh,
to the end of August
okay.
potentially.
It's just basically saying that that September 30th date is not available because we will be making edits.
Okay, any other questions? We have a motion from Councilor Crowe to table the vote on the rummage sale arena, our hockey.
Fall rummage
Fall
sale
rummage
date.
sale date. All in favor of Mr. Crowe? Carry.
Raise your hand up or down, Councilor Warwick. That's you.
And.
Did you
She voted.
vote?
Oh,
You
yeah.
vote? Okay.
She did actually, yeah.
Oh.
Vern was the one that's falling asleep on the screen up there. I was kind of worried about.
So then I'm gathering the motion was carried.
Carried unanimously.
Yeah.
I think there's a planning down.
Yeah, he's just, yeah.
We have a letter from the hospital auxiliary for you to look through, basically supporting what they've given us in the past.
It's hard to read, actually.
9.03, the Palliser Intermunicipal Subdivision Appeal Board appointment. Council will appoint Mr. Chris Warwick to the Palliser Intermunicipal Subdivision Development Appeal Board for a 3-year term starting on February 28, 2020. Ending, sorry. February 28, 2026. I was good until I got to there. And that further council accept his resignation of Chris Warwick of a member of the Town of Hanna Municipal Planning Commission effective February 22nd, 2023.
I know Mr. Warwick's letter says March today, but he did at our February meeting did provide us with notice of that meeting. I give you that, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, motion Council Olson.
Send the letter back and tell him to rewrite it. Just didn't have the right dates.
Any more discussion?
He didn't let me prove this
Council
one.
Bowden, discussion?
No, I think she was ready to vote. Ms.
Okay, all in favor? Carried,
Mr. Mayor,
yes.
just a question in regards to that now, how do we go about, replacing that board member? Now that Chris has stepped out of that.
I believe that's a member at large, correct?
It is a member at large, so we will be advertising that, but certainly for these positions, a lot of it is, you have good word of mouth, if you know someone who you think would be a good fit for that, you can certainly encourage them to submit an application, so.
And just for clarification on that, does the acting board member have to live within the municipality of Hanna?
I don't have the bylaw in front of me, but I would believe so.
If the rep is, yeah.
I would believe so, Council Work, not having the bylaw in front of me, so.
Thank you.
Yeah, they would have to be a resident of the town.
Would they though, because it's the
No, we're on the municipal planning commission is what Council Work was talking about, so the town of Hanna.
okay, yes, they're representative.
Yeah.
Okay, no, I just,
But if you know of someone that's always an arm twist or a bug in somebody's ear, generally creates as much interest as any advertising.
I'm not sure that
Well, I
there's a
could
lot
take
of
them
people
all
running
out,
to the
copies
door
are
to
in.
take on that arduous job of reading bylaws.
That's good.
okay, so we've done the advertising bylaw. Municipal Government Act, section 606, so just some information for us as far as that.
So you're on bylaw 10, or sorry, agenda item 1002, Mr. Mayor.
Yes. Council gives second reading to bylaw 10/30/2023 advertising bylaw. Council Olson. Discussion. All in favor? Carried. The council give third and final reading to bylaw 10/30/2023 advertising bylaw. Motion, Council Warwick. Discussion. All in favor? Carried. Council reports. Does anyone want to go first? I'll go first.
Your name's first.
Yeah. It's a lot. I get paid to make bucks to go first. It was actually, I got, I don't know, nominated, railroaded. I'm on the Red Deer Municipal Users Group, executive now. So another couple hours for a meeting every month. There's a lot of really, I've always maintained that water is a very valuable commodity, and there's a lot of talk about different things. There's the dam or the irrigation at the south of the Acadia, MD Acadia, about, and don't quote me on this, 1.4 million acres over there. It's going to be irrigated, so they're going to pump water from the Red Deer River into two holding facilities similar to Prairie Oasis, basically only a lot deeper. Something I never would have thought of is retention of water. You lose a whole lot through evaporation, so these new retention ponds, as they call them, are going to be about 40 to 50 feet deep. So possibility of a similar to Prairie Oasis happening there. We actually had Mr. Horner at our meeting. And of course, it was kind of a no holds barred meeting, so we threw out building a second dam on the Red Deer River over the Dixon Dam. And pie in the sky, but right now the gloves are off when it comes to that. So basically, right, the way the legislation is right now, if the river produces 3 X's, we only have to allow 2 of those X's to go into Saskatchewan by law. So basically, if that third X is going to Saskatchewan's water, we could be keeping it Alberta and utilizing here. So there's a very preliminary thought process of a second dam, where it would be feasible, where it would be viable, and so on and so forth. Interesting conversation about rerouting water from Mackenzie Delta down into southern Alberta. Again, very preliminary, pie in the sky ideas, but it was mentioned. So other than that, I had a fulcrum. How would we describe the meeting with fulcrum?
An exploratory
Meeting. So I was approached by the MLA from Drayton Valley, Devon, to have a meeting with a company by the name of Fulcrum Energy. And they're, I don't know what you call it, kicking around the idea of coal being not a swear word. So basically what they would do with the coal is they would refine it, would that be the accurate terms, into carbon, water, and one of the various byproducts being fuel, one of them. And so we had it was supposed to be a half-hour meeting, ended up going on about
an hour,
45 minutes to an hour. Pretty informative. I was kind of leaning towards the garbage idea, and he kept going back to the coal, because I thought garbage would be a really good idea with all of our garbage, and then the garbage from the city of Calgary traveling through our community. So I think initially the thought process was to maybe look at coal. They need 3-phase power, they need coal, and they need land. So logically, the sad part is I don't think it fits in town. So, we kind of threw out the idea, just briefly threw it out to them, the industrial park. The special areas is promoted being, we have the irrigation down our canal right there. We have a power plant just across, up the hill from it, and the coal is across. So that was our preliminary meeting. We're, nothing is gonna happen till after the election for sure. Coal is still a swear word in a lot of people's minds. Not here at this table, but some places it is. So that's kind of where we're at right now. We're gonna set up a second meeting with Fulcrum and special areas. And I talked briefly to one of the Heartland people today, and they're not sure that they actually have the mineral rights anymore for the coal. So that will be something that we'll have to do some more research. So that was kind of a, if you want a little light at the end of the tunnel, it kind of gave you a little bit of a bounce in my step for a couple of days to think that there's something potentially down the road that we could benefit from. So it was good.
Where did you meet? I'm just curious.
I can't say,
Oh, it's private, it was private meeting?
yes,
Oh. Okay,
yeah,
well, this MLA approached us at the UPC party.
that's where it was, and we're not supposed to be there.
No, you can be there.
We can be there.
You're there as Danny Fabus-Chuck.
Oh, yeah, I was there.
That's where it was.
I didn't wear, I was.
And then we had a
in the
meeting.
Political arena, I'm just gathering information. I don't know.
Yeah, that's where I had, and then I had a private meeting after to set all the meetings up, so.
Well, I'm happy.
Yeah.
That there was some follow through with that, because I think he had some really good information and just kind of, he was passionate about it.
Oh, yeah,
He just didn't. I missed meeting up with other people that were there because he just talked and talked and talked, but that'd be great if we could have some results come from that. That's awesome.
and like I said, the garbage thing really tweaked mine, because their website, if you get a chance to take a look at it, it's Fulcrum Energy. It does focus on garbage, but they're really gung ho on this coal thing, so. Yeah,
Bigger, I think a bigger bang for their buck and
Yeah.
quicker bang for their buck than burning garbage to create these byproducts.
yeah, so, yeah, it was good.
Well, that's a company that we looked at the convention.
That was another one, yeah, 2 years ago that we brought that,
They made
that
garbage.
information, but yeah, to take the garbage and combine it into something.
Well, there's all kinds of different, yeah, I did some Googling and digging around after, yes.
Brooks is getting their
Save the Southern Alberta Energy from Waste, yeah.
So, yeah,
An
Pretty-
incinerator, sorry, is that what you said?
okay, we'll just move up the table, Council Murphy.
Okay. I've had, as I mentioned in my report, I was at the Acadia Foundation Seniors Lodge meeting. We lost our CAO that we had just hired because she happens to be a very talented registered nurse who has been in management in hospitals in East Central Alberta for the last 20 years, Shalane Woods. And they hired her at the Oyen Hospital because they felt she was the only person who could actually get the hospital back to 24-hour emergency department care. It was a huge loss for us. It has been the most refreshing 2 months I've had since I've been on the board. But now they know what they can get. So let's hope with the new position that they get someone like her again. In the meantime, she's working already at having the Oyen Lodge have supportive level SL3 placed on the 3rd floor of the Oyen Hospital because the Oyen Lodge, because they don't have enough bums in the beds. And they're hoping to have that up within 2 months. And if it works, Hannah's next, and we will have a full facility, and I'm very, very happy about that. So she's still involved with us, which is wonderful. But in the meantime, we're back to our Sandy Kelts will return as the CAO until something else happens. The Hanna Library, our new director is on leave until further notice. We don't know if she'll return. So in the meantime, Jen Steinbrecher has taken on the role for the 4th time, I believe. We're working very hard to ensure that she has the support she needs to continue because she's really come a long way in those. And she just rises up and takes on. So it's been very good. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Perfect. That's awesome.
I don't think I have anything else to add than what I submitted. I guess golf course, we're starting to schedule meetings there. Hopefully things will disappear outside and turn into water and get golfing.
Lots of water.
Lots of water. And that'll come with its own issues there. We'll see how water gets managed out there. It's always a struggle to get started. I'm happy to struggle with that.
That's a good struggle.
Yeah. Oh, nothing really to add.
Council Warwood?
A couple things, AGTMA, which is the Alberta Japan 20 Municipality AGM Annual Conference, is in Jasper this year, May 12th and 13th. And all are welcome if you'd like to attend. That's the time I'll be sharing all that Degauche candy at that time. At our last meeting, they, and I think you might have read this in my notes, but they did comment on the mayor of Hanna attending the Emperor's birthday celebration. They hold that kind of stuff in really high esteem, and that is, talked about. Although just to make mention too, Hanna has not yet paid their membership dues.
So I saw that Councillor Warwick. I guess normally they send out, the association sends out invoices.
Yeah, there's
Obviously,
been
they haven't.
there's been a little bit of change in administration there and figuring out how to run the computer equipment. So
Normally we don't until we get the invoice from the association. So if you want to, if they're going to be preparing invoices, we're certainly prepared to send our membership fee, but without that, I'm guessing as to where we're even sending it.
Okay, okay, I will get you that information.
yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. As you've probably seen by my report, CF Meridian, we seem to have a lot of meetings, a lot of training sessions. We were called into an emergent meeting on March 1st as we had a resignation of our board chair. And so we elected somebody from the board to sit in that position for the intern. It's hard sometimes to get board members to be committed. We're now doing a little bit of advocacy and advertising for board members to sit on that board. But, and outside of that, I have a question just that came to me the other night. I'm just curious, do we pay more than our annual requisition to go through a bylaw review? Does it cost us over and above that?
No.
Okay.
That's included as part of our annual membership fee.
Okay, I was just curious.
They've got Councillor Olson can speak to it probably a little bit better, but they just created a new level of service. So for your membership fee in Palliser, you get, I think, a land use bylaw, MDP, IDP every 3 years.
Yeah,
A major planning study every 3 years. So there's no additional costs from the town to Palliser for this land use bylaw.
Thank you. And that's all I have. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Councilor Bowden?
I do have one question, if I may.
Go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, Councilor Warwick, were you able to get a flag? An updated flag? Did you get an address to somebody at the office to get?
I will take the flag
When you go to Jasper.
when I go in May. I affirmed that with them too. If I can just somehow in the interim, if we can provide a
I'm just
flag.
making a note here. I'll make sure somebody puts it aside for you.
Okay, thank you.
Councilor Bowden?
I don't have a whole lot going on. Did attend the Outer Sky AGM this morning with Councilor Warwick. And I will also be attending the Alberta Municipalities President Summit and the Muni Caucus at the end of March. Other than that.
Councilor Cole?
I'd like to maybe just add something about Hanna Medical Clinic board. Ben Hansen has been in the wind for the last 3 weeks. They're building a private clinic. It'll be owned and operated by the doctors and local
municipality.
Yeah, and it.
Isn't that like here? Councilor Crowell, is that like the one we have here? Because that's what it is, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So just a clarification though, the doctors don't own our clinic.
That's right.
The partners do. So the special areas, Town of Hanna, County of Starland are the 3 partners and owners of the clinic.
Okay. And in Oyen, it'll be different?
Well, I don't know that for sure, but it's kind of, but they've got drawings off the architect and stuff like that. They've got, I think they've got 3 doctors in Oyen.
Yeah, they do.
The one doctor has strongly requested that he's there, he's a lifer, his kids will be a lifer. You know, and everything else, and they're moving forward. Hopefully, you know, they get something going and it goes good. And hopefully they can overthrow Alberta Health Services, you know, to an extent.
So do they have an existing clinic? They have an existing clinic already, and so they're gonna.
The Alberta Health Services.
It's old.
Okay, any other questions for?
Yeah.
Don't forget, Mr.
No,
Thurl.
he's chomping at the bit up there. Counselor Thurl, rock on.
Voice.
Yeah,
Oh, I still got a voice. Oh, I attended the council meeting on February 14th and the information meeting on February 22nd. And attended the open house for the bylaw on 23rd. And I got upcoming is our community service board meeting on March 27th. And I will be attending the Big Country Waste Management meeting on March 22nd, along with Fred. That's it.
okay. Any other questions? Motion to council accept reports for information. Counselor Murphy. All in favor? Carried. Correspondence.
So the only thing in the correspondence that I wanted to bring attention to was just 12.1, so the Federal Electoral Boundaries Commission. So sometimes when we're asked to put our voice in or an opinion on something, support something, sometimes we feel that it falls on a deaf ear, but in this case, I think the submissions from special areas and ourselves in regards to staying in the existing electoral boundary and seems to have prevailed when you read the report. I just printed off the section on East Central, so the report basically talks about the changes they made in the other areas of the province or didn't make, but it was interesting to see that, you know, the commission was advised by the mayors of Drumheller and Hanna that they wanted their respective towns to be removed from the proposed revised electoral district of Bow River and return to the Bow River Crowfoot. And further, we specifically asked that Hanna remain in the same electoral district as special areas 2, 3, and 4 due to our partnerships. And they accepted these suggestions. So I thought that was great news.
Surprising.
Yeah, well, sometimes in those large things, you think they're not going to pay any attention or provide us any feedback, but that was a positive that they did hear what we had to say and felt we had a reasonable argument and supported it. So I just wanted to point that out, Mr. Mayor, out of the I guess correspondence items, that was one that stuck out for me.
I actually did 2 interviews about that. One with Drumheller Mail. And one with some radio station out of Calgary.
Oh, really? I did see the one in the Drumheller Mail. So.
Other than that, nothing jumps off the page. A letter or motion to accept the correspondence for information. Counselor Olson. All in favor? I see we have a closed session. No.
Can we? Can we? Is that, can we? Does it have to be?
Approved on the agenda.
Okay.
Okay, we are.